Good morning, Cindy here in Central Texas, and today we are taking a January tour of my garden to see how things are faring so far. We did have a hard freeze, so we did get down to, I think, 27 one evening. We've had some low 30s, but so far it's been a very mild winter. We have not been hit with any ice storms, and so we don't have devastating winter loss, which is great. And we're hoping that holds true for the rest of this month and February. Several years ago, it was February when we had the severe storms. So far we're doing great. And I want to take you around and show you what kinds of tasks I'm going to do today with my pruners and show you how the evergreens are looking. It's great to have some evergreens for winter interest. So let's take a look and see how things are doing. So getting up close to the front porch, I was going to show you my containers. I have just some faux wreaths and a really cool wooden structure. I found this at HEB, and they certainly didn't have very many of them. I went around to many HEBs gathering up several for friends, but these are just a rustic tree structure. It had fairy lights wrapped around it and little red berries. So if you happen to find something like that, that's a great container filler, because I don't have to worry about any plants all of December, January, or February. This is going to be my winter look all winter long, and I just love it. I'm going to have that for years and years. And the only thing I might do is add more berries or add winter lights as things kind of die off. Now here is cyclamen, and this has not been covered. It's made it through the hard freeze. It is somewhat protected being up on the porch, but it gets the low winter sun here, but not too much sun. It's just enough, and it is so happy. So this is a new cyclamen, and then on the back side, this is an older cyclamen, and I just keep it on the front porch all year long, and I just keep watering it, and it does really well. I'm kind of waiting for my old cyclamen to bloom, but it hasn't. But the new one is doing great. So maybe I need to fertilize that one in the back. But everything else that was on the porch, my Kimberly Queen ferns, are in the garage. Everything is that was in containers is in the garage. Now on the left side, as you leave the porch, I have my beautiful lobelias that look fabulous. So I love the winter green interest. It's just so nice to have that green all year long. Here in front, I I still have Shasta daisies. I just can't hardly believe it. So our winter has not taken them out yet. There's a little bit of area back here I will definitely take out. And my Ajuga ground cover is so purple right now. This is the chocolate chip Ajuga. And so in the winter, it gets a really pretty purple color. And I just love it. It sometimes gets bitten by too much heat, but it's just a real workhorse. So if you want a great ground cover, I highly recommend Ajuga. And then phlox is another one. This one is so nice, and in the spring it gets covered with the purple flowers, as does the Ajuga. Purple flowers everywhere here in the spring. Now here I have salvia. This is the Dahlberg variety, and I am definitely going to go ahead and prune this out. I'm going to take it all the way down. Let me show you here. All the way down to the base, and then it'll help it come back a lot quicker. There's no seeds or anything on here that birds want. I have plenty of birds, I'm sure, living inside the abelias. On the other side, I have the same thing. We have the phlox, the Ajuga, and I have my pittosporum in a pot. I have several that I've had to put in pots because they didn't make it in our severe freezes. And then back here, I have a struggling Indian hawthorn. It has not ever been really happy, so I'm not sure why, but it just keeps on struggling. And then, of course, more Shasta daisies on the left. I already trimmed down some Salvia Dulbergs here and here, and I trimmed down all my coneflower. So it'll start up again very soon in the spring. And this is a really pretty area in the spring with coneflower and zinnias. And here is another salvia. And on the left side of the house is a beautiful cherry laurel. This is almost as tall as the house now, and I would say it's about 5 years old. And man, it's found some great water source because it is just as happy as can be. And this is a closet, so I'm not too concerned about blocking that window. But if this was a window I cared about, I would definitely have to trim that. But anyway, there is a look at the front of the house. So nice and green. And then as we move along, here is my Salvia Mystic Spires. This is the showstopper most of the year, and now it has succumbed to the cold, and I will be definitely trimming this all the way down. There's some green down there, so I will trim it back. I will trim it about, I'll leave it about 12 inches tall. And then usually though, every stalk here that you don't trim out, it will come up from new growth, not the old growth. Here's agapanthus. She made it through, never a bloom. So I'm putting agapanthus in a pot this year, and I'm adding some acid to her soil because I've learned that she does not like limestone soil. Okay, and here is a very, very dead lantana. I mean, her roots are alive, but she's definitely gone dormant, and I just don't like that look of crispy leaves. So I'm going to take it out, and then it'll come back very quickly. And here is my fall aster, and this was so pretty this fall, but I am going to go ahead and trim it down by half. So this is my first year to have a fall aster, and they say to trim it down by half. So we'll see how that goes. And then I also learned that I should have trimmed it down by half in June, and that would have helped it to not be leggy. I don't think it looks too leggy, but it could have helped it grow, further out and not so high or tall. Here's another lantana. This was my pink lantana. It was so pretty most of the summer, but now it looks pretty dead. So I'll be taking that down, and I'll be taking down my Mexican bush sage. So right now, the front of my garden is all gray. And I'm not crazy about gray. I really do like the green. Now I do have some new abelias coming in. There's one here and here. This one had some kind of problem, so it is not doing as well, but this one is doing fantastic. So these baby abelias will be a nice evergreen down the road. And there's another, this is my other Mystic Spires salvia, and it definitely got hit and is turning nice and gray, so I'll be cutting it down too. But all of these things that I have just shown you are perennials, and they do come back every year, which is the best way to spend your money on perennials. I'm out here at the street now looking towards the house and at my Nellie Stevens hollies. These are year 4. So these should really start taking off. These front ones keep getting nibbled by deer, but I'm very much looking forward to when they completely cover the ugly electrical boxes. But it won't be long, and they do not get any water. There's no irrigation out here. It's just me remembering to water them. But they shouldn't really require a lot of water. They are pretty good at handling drought, which we have a lot of around here. And here's some yaupons. If you have the patience Yopon hollies are the toughest evergreens that we have. They are just amazing. They can take, I have never watered these. They just somehow survive. This is a baby that volunteered to grow here on its own. So kind of a quick look at the rocky area at the street. I have the red yucca, which is an evergreen. In the spring, it puts up beautiful stalks with pink flowers on them, and they're just beautiful. They're reddish pink, hence the name red yucca. And then here is the purple trailing lantana, and unbelievably, they're still blooming. So that's interesting. It could be that that rock is keeping them a little bit warmer. There's another yucca, another purple trailing lantana. This one got nipped a little bit more. And Texas sage with a butterfly on it, looking great. It's gone a little grayer after the freeze, but it's still very much alive. My yucca rostrata is just as pretty as ever. It didn't care one bit about the freeze. And then some grasses over here, they get that really fun yellow curly grass. And there's also some yellow flowering ends there, but they're just kind of a nice addition to a rock garden. All right, let's take a quick look at the backyard. My grass is still green. I don't know why. This is zoysia grass. We haven't watered anything here in over a month, but we did get about an inch of rain several nights ago. We are on severe water restrictions here in Leander. So I have watered nothing, but thank God for that rain. So coming up to the backyard, I have Pittosporum covered up tightly because we still have some possibilities of some severe freeze. So I have a climbing star jasmine. In the spring, this will be covered with white flowers that smell fabulous. And this usually gets bitten by hard freeze. So because it's been so mild last winter and this month, so far so good, but this usually doesn't make it. So I don't recommend either the Carolina or the Star Jasmine anymore if we are going to continue to have those crazy hard freezes. And then some more cherry laurels. This is a nice evergreen shrub that I am using as a screen between the front yard and the backyard for privacy. So if you want a great privacy shrub, here is one to think about. They get, like 15 to 20 feet tall. Okay, so coming in, my Belinda's Dream Rose is still covered with green leaves. I can't believe it. The roses got nipped, but the leaves are still green, so we didn't have too much of a freeze. This is the Salvia Dahlbergs. I'm going to trim these. There's 3 of them here. I'm going to give them a good trim. And I will be trimming my knockout roses in February. There's an Abelia that's doing great. Love that. And this area here, up close to the house, I have the boxwood and the roses. This is drift roses and trailing lantana. So they still look like it's spring in here. They haven't been bothered a bit. And as we keep on going, my ponyfoot or dichondra ground cover is looking great. I love the contrast of the gray with the green. Boxwood's doing great. And my plumbago doesn't have any purple flowers, but it's still looking good. So definitely, so far, a mild winter. Here's another drift rose, a red one, and some more boxwoods over here. And then this is a new garden, so there's some lamb's ear and some lantana, baby lantana, that they will come back. And then I have some more screening evergreens. This is more cherry laurels. This cherry laurel has a disease, and I am waiting to see what happens in the spring, if it comes back or we have to take it out. But it definitely got some kind of terrible disease, which is very sad. But all of the others are doing great. So, you just never know what happened to it. So these are all looking great between my house and my neighbor's house. These lantana didn't make it. Of course, their roots are fine. And then this is a new garden that I can't wait to plant with Texas natives. So this will be fun to plant. And I'll leave a link above on how we raised this bed with a chain link fence next to it. We definitely found some black thick plastic about 12 inches tall. And so our dirt isn't going over to our neighbor's property. So look up here at this link if you want to know about that. And then moving along, we have the skull cap, still looks great. It usually has pink flowers all over it, but no flowers right now. Now, when it does start to turn brown, I usually take the weed eater and just whack it down, and it really appreciates a fresh start. As I get closer, I was going to show you the yarrow. It does not want much pampering. It wants dry and great drainage. So I have a few yarrow, and they don't do much for me, but I get a yellow flower in the spring. And here I have a lantana that is definitely all gray now, and I will be taking that down to the ground. On the other side of the trail, the Turk's cap, this is a shady garden. The Turk's cap is going dormant. It won't be long, and every one of those leaves will be off, and I trim this down quite low. And my legularia, or it has so many names, leopard plant, it still has its yellow flowers. So in the early winter, it shoots up these really pretty yellow flowers. Isn't that cute? And I have a fern here and another one on the other side of the tree. They really enjoy the shade. And then this is Duranta. Duranta's going dormant. It's all dried up. And this one, you take it all the way down and it comes back every year. And it's 8 feet tall right now. And it is covered with really pretty purple hanging flowers. I'll put a picture up so you can see what it looks like in the summer. And I can't believe how it comes back every year and gets that tall, but you have to cut it all the way back down to the ground every year. Another name for this Duranta is sky flower. It is just a really fun plant to have. And as I go back here behind the fire pit, I have my wildflowers and my pollinator garden. So I have the Greg's Mist is going dormant. It's starting to turn really brown. Every once in a while, you'll see a butterfly here. There's some Gara. There's 2 Gara, and that Gara is not getting enough water in my backyard. There is a butterfly bush that does really well and has lots of great butterflies. And again, this is something I take the weed whacker and I come in and we just mow this whole thing down, and it gives it a refresh and it starts over again. Looking straight down, this is, if I get my shadow out of here, this is where the wildflowers are, and the babies are, may have been hit by the freeze. I don't seem to see quite as many, but supposedly, this is my first year to plant them, these little babies may go dormant, but then they wake up and come back in the spring, and I should have a beautiful display of wildflowers. So we'll see. I'm excited for this experiment. I also have them fenced off, because just a little 2-foot fence, because I have dogs. So the dogs can go in here and the wildflowers will be here. And I think that'll look really pretty. I think some of these might get 2 feet tall, maybe 3 feet tall. So that'll be a nice border between the walkway and the pollinator garden. And my Pride of Barbados has gone all brown and dormant. More Turk's cap starting to go dormant. And if I turn all the way around, we'll go back down this direction. This is Russian sage going dormant. And this is a big tall thryallis covered with yellow flowers. It's gone dormant. So I'll just show you what's going on in this newest garden. This is my rock rose, and it's starting to go dormant. There are no more flowers left, and I will cut that down quite a bit. There is a Turk's cap, definitely chop him down. There's a gray lantana. Here is my fall aster. All of these things will get trimmed quite a bit. This is a Mexican honeysuckle. Still has some orange flowers on it. Here's another rock rose. My zinnia was covered with flowers a week ago. Another fall aster. Here's some Salvia greggii. Here's some brand new flame acanthus. And it's going to have a little red flower. There's another one, and it'll have that little tubular flower, which the pollinators love. And here is another Mexican honeysuckle, and one more of the fall asters. So we have just started with the cold, so things are just now beginning to go dormant, and it will definitely probably take another hit later in January and even into February. So things are definitely starting to change. This is my thryallis, and it did have these really pretty yellow flowers all over it, but it dies back all the way to the ground. It's 5 feet tall right now, and there is a salvia in there. And here is my daylilies and my iris bed, and there's daffodils in here too. So these are starting to look pretty flat. And I will trim those back when the leaves turn brown, but not yet. So there we have it. I do have a bit of evergreen here with the skullcap, which is a very nice combination with the daylilies. It kind of holds them up a bit. I can't get my shadow out of there. So get some skullcap if you don't have any, and then it will eventually turn brown when we get enough of the cold, and I just mow it down with the weed eater. And so here is more of the flattened of the daylilies. And I think I have given you just a good view of what's going on. And I will be picking up all of this brown and throwing it in my compost. All of these lovely brown bits. So there you have it. Ready for the next freeze. Well, thank you so much for watching my video today on this cold January day. And you can see that I have a lot of pruning as these plants go dormant. Some I can prune today, and some I might not prune until the end of February, early March. But pruning is one of the best things you can do to your perennials, and it'll give them a nice kickstart, and they will flush out really quickly and look beautiful for you in the spring. And the next thing I'm going to do, my next big project, is planting seeds in milk jugs. It's called the winter sow method, and I'm going to put the video right up here, and watch that and see how easy it is to get a lot of seedlings. And you're going to get plants 2 to 3 inches tall by March. So you're ready to put them out into the garden before anybody else, for almost free. So definitely watch that next video. Okay, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.